This week, psycho bosses, big bug bounties. I said that right. F that VPN. This is Russia. AT modem commands for the hack. Hackers try to dump Mandiant. Echo spying. HBO scripts leaked. Voting machines are owned. And the laws of IoT. Jason Wood joins us for expert commentary on how one bad click nearly kills a product. All that and more on this episode of Hack Naked News. This is Security Weekly, for security professionals, by security professionals. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show that brings you the security news each week. And despite popular belief, we do wear pants. It's Hack Naked News.
Most of the organizations I work with, they have the same tools
you read
do any lending.
The original Linux kernel security with Linux kit.
So I hope everybody has their resistance built up.
Brought to you by IT Pro TV is the resource to keep you and your IT team's skills up to date. IT Pro TV's team solution provides group pricing and access to their supervisor portal. You'll gain full control over your team's training schedule, see individual and group analytics, and more. IT Pro TV does IT live every day, so you know you're getting the most current IT training. Go to itpro.tv/hacknaked and use the code HN30 to try it free for 7 days and receive 30% off your monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. To learn more about IT Pro TV's team solution, sign up for a free demo of their supervisor portal. Do you have a website, an external presence, employees, an office? Any of these things can be compromised and attacked. How are you defending these assets? Have you penetration tested these public assets? Start 2017 by taking a proactive approach to securing your vulnerable areas. Black Hills Information Security has been helping companies find their weaknesses since 2008. Email consulting@blackhillsinfosec.com and see how they can help you sleep better at night. Welcome to Hack Naked News. This is episode 134 for August 2nd, 2017. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. Go to itpro.tv/hacknaked and use the discount code HN30. Make sure you try out their new team solution in the supervisor portal. It's just awesome. You get 30% off the lifetime, 30% off your monthly membership for the lifetime of your active subscription. Make sure you go do that. It's a lot of fun. And whether you're phishing, hacking, or spying, because some of you are known to do that, threat actors use domains and IP addresses to launch their attacks. And while you might not be interested in targeted attacks yet, targeted attacks are interested in you. Your ability to map and characterize the attacker's infrastructure is crucial. Join Domain Tools. Kyle and Tim, they're awesome. They have lots of experience in the security industry. Visit domaintools.com/security weekly. Did I get that right? I hope I got that right. domaintools.com/security weekly. Register and find out how you can protect yourselves from the threat actors using data collected on domains and IPs. It's going to be awesome. And now, the security news. Sorry, psycho bosses, it's not okay to keystroke log your employees' behavior. This company discovered their employees' extracurricular activities. My teleprompter is broken now. Extracurricular activities, thanks to software I had installed on all of the staff's computers, with a warning that all internet traffic would be logged. Internet traffic. The software, however, did much more than that, recorded every keyboard stroke and took screenshots at regular intervals and stored them on the company server. This is a really important lesson to all of you out there on many fronts, including being completely transparent when it comes to employee monitoring, because internet traffic and screenshots and keystrokes are all three actually separate type behaviors. So make sure you clearly state what will be monitored and how. As this German court actually said, if it was part of a criminal investigation, the keystroke logging would be okay. As Jason was pointing out right before the show, this would be interesting if it was in the U.S. This was in Germany. And, hey, I just report the news as I see it. In any case, Microsoft expands the bug bounty program to cover any Windows flaw and announced recently that a new bug bounty program scheme would see anyone finding a security flaw in Windows eligible for a payout of up to $15,000. It's not the first time Microsoft has updated and expanded its program since its inception in 2013. Hat tip, Katie Mazuris. So make sure you go check out all the details on Microsoft's expanded bug bounty program. No VPN for you if you're in Russia. Even if you are the machine, you are not allowed now to use a VPN in Russia, as Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law prohibiting the use of technology that provides access to websites banned in the country. The law signed on Sunday is already approved by the Duma, the lower house of parliament, and will come into effect on November 1st. And removes VPN apps from Chinese app store that comply with government. It will ban the use of virtual private networks and other technologies known as anonymizers, because it is said the law is not intended to impose restrictions but law-abiding citizens, but is meant to block access to unlawful content, according to the RIA news agency. Go figure. Well, it's 2017, and Hayes AT modem commands can be used to hack luxury cars, which is pretty awesome. A bunch of middle-aged Ford, Infiniti, Nissan, and BMW vehicles are carrying around a vulnerable chipset from Infineon that our country's ISC CERT reckons is easy to exploit. Now, there's two interesting points here. This first attack that they disclosed was physical access. You can use modem AT commands such as AT, SDK, prof, AT, plus a XAP. Anyway, it's in the show notes, all of the AT commands. I was going to read them, but I stink apparently at doing that. To trigger a stack-based buffer overflow that requires physical access. The second, which is remotely exploitable if you can get a 2G connection, lets an attacker access and control memory for remote code execution on the baseband radio processor of the TCU. The discoverers note in the presentation that exploits for the firmware in question were outlined in a book called the iOS Hacker's Handbook in 2016, which I thought was very interesting. Hackers dumped files supposedly from Mandiant FireEye in a so-called breach. Hackers have, and I actually saw this breach on Pastebin. They have leaked what they claim is information stolen from a FireEye Mandiant employee after breaking into the incident response business network, reportedly. This one is I'm very skeptical. Mandiant has denied this. It appears on Pastebin that the leak is from one workstation only and may not be something to get in a tizzy about. Official statements are, and I quote, "We are aware of reports that a Mandiant employee's social media accounts were compromised. We immediately began investigating the situation and took steps to limit further exposure. Our investigation continues, but thus far we've found no evidence FireEye or Mandiant systems were compromised." And again, this comes from Mandiant. That's what they do, investigate breaches. Anyway, so moving right along. Amazon Echo hack can make your speaker spy on you. MWR Info Security found it's possible to turn an Amazon Echo into a covert listening device without affecting its overall functionality. However, one big limiting factor, and this is a big one, the process does involve the attacker being able to gain access to the physical unit, which means I'm already in your house spying on your stuff. But it's possible to tamper with the Echo without leaving any evidence. So yeah, it's kind of a cool attack if you were sending the unit as a gift or have access to the supply chain. Of course, if you had physical access, you could put listening devices in really anything with physical access. Am I the only one that sees it this way? However, an Echo backdoor is cool because, well, it's hidden in the Echo, and that's cool. Game of Thrones script has been stolen from HBO. A group of hackers claim to have stolen the script for the forthcoming Game of Thrones episode and other data in a breach at entertainment firm HBO. No details on how, but HBO did say it was a, air quotes with me now, cyber breach. Unless you're driving, in that case, keep both hands on the wheel and just say cyber with me. Cyber breach, and likely not the last to target the entertainment industry. Hackers exploited a voting machine vulnerabilities at DEF CON. A number of security researchers were successful in their attempts, including Karsten Schumann, who was able to gain remote access to a Win vote machine that was actually used in a local election in 2014. Interesting. The system had an open port that allowed Windows remote desktop sessions, according to Sherman. Adding to that, the port was discovered by simply running the open source Wireshark network capture program. Evil hacking tools at work. Other hackers in the voting village also used Wireshark to compromise voting machines that had known vulnerabilities simply with the open source Metasploit penetration testing framework. In other words, it was really easy to hack voting machines at DEF CON, and we shouldn't rely on them for our elections, and we should use crowdsourced pen testing because it's fun, and it's fun to talk about on the show. How the federal government wants to improve your IoT security. Along those lines, it's really sad that this has to be a proposed law. Kind of goes back to the voting machine article. This law, and I quote, is stated to do this. Among the common sense security requirements outlined in the IoT Cybersecurity Improvement Act, which is a bipartisan act, I just like saying that because it makes me sound smart, is that vendors have to make sure that the devices they sell to the U.S. government can be patched for security flaws. Additionally, it requires that IoT vendors not include any hard-coded passwords on devices that cannot be changed. The IoT Cybersecurity Improvement Act also directs vendors to ensure that devices to not include any known vulnerabilities and that devices use industry-standard protocols for connectivity and encryption. Again, really sad that we have to put all of that inside of a proposed bipartisan law that would regulate this type of stuff, because that's really just, it's like saying my car should have round wheels and roll down the street and be drivable. I'm flawed that this has to be in a law, because those are common sense things that we've talked about on the show a lot. So now we're going to take a very short break, come back with expert commentary from Jason Wood. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Has your network been breached? Cybereason can help you answer this question. Cybereason products hunt for threats within your network and eliminate them in real time. To Cybereason, real time means within seconds. Founded by former military hackers who don't play by the rules, they've built this experience into their platform. Harness ingenuity and imagination, not just code, to defeat attackers. Cybereason. Disrupt the adversary and let the hunt begin. Gain control of cyber risk with Tenable.io, the first vulnerability management platform built for today's elastic assets like cloud, containers, and web apps. Discover a fresh, asset-based approach that prioritizes vulnerabilities while seamlessly integrating into your environment. And improve ROI with the first elastic licensing approach based on assets, not IP addresses. Tenable.io delivers the data and context you need to secure your elastic attack surface. Start your free Tenable.io trial today by visiting Tenable.io. Welcome back, everyone, to Hack Naked News. I almost forgot what show I was on. Imagine that. Come check out Wild West Hackin' Fest. Wild West Hackin' Fest is put on by Red Team specialists from Black Hills Information Security. For anyone interested in information security, join us October 27th and 28th for hands-on hardware hacking workshops and talk by a whole bunch of famous InfoSec people like Dave Kennedy, Deviant Egypt, Chris Nickerson, Mike Porsub, T. Chris Gates, and more. Register today at Wild West Hackin' Fest, HACKINFest.com. Jason Wood from Paladin Security, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul. So you made it difficult this week to avoid laughing out loud.
That's good. I'm doing my job. At the very least, I try to be
mute a couple times.
Yeah, at the very least, I try and be entertaining. I can't always promise that, though. I can't. The law just, and when the law about the IoT thing just floors me, right? Because some of you see me smoke cigars on the show, and we say in the cigar industry, like, the cigar had a good burn, draw, and construction, which basically means I was able to light it, I was able to smoke it, and it didn't fall apart. I feel like those are table stakes, right? And it's the same thing with an IoT device. There shouldn't be hard-coded passwords that you can't change. Well, that's like saying I should be able to smoke my cigar. It's the same thing. Anyway, I'm all fired up today.
I just started laughing reading that as you were talking about it, because I agree. I was just, duh.
It's like, duh, yeah. All right. So, what do you got for us today, Jason?
So a while back, we were talking about user awareness training and stuff like that, and making sure we're doing something useful with our user awareness training, right? And telling good stories. And this one caught my eye because I think it's a pretty good story. Picture this situation. You're working for some kind of software development company. A official looking email arrives explaining to you there's something wrong with your plugin in the Chrome plugins or web store, and is a violation of their rules. And unless you do something, they're going to remove it from the web store. Somebody clicks on the link, and boom, the company just lost control of their product, and it has started serving spam out to your users. And that's actually what happened to a company last Saturday. A company named A9T9 received this email, and a developer responded with, I guess, some panic, and clicked on the link, which was a bit.ly link. Doesn't go to Google. Apparently, it even went to a free version of a Freshdesk installation, so kind of a ticketing system, and provided their main developer username and password. And boom, the application is now moved out of their account into the attacker's account. A new version is served up, and automatic updates deploy, and ads start popping up.
It's so simple. I mean, not elegant, but simple, right? Like if you had to picture a targeted phishing attack, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw in the articles about it, the message, I mean, it, linked to had their product ID or their app ID in there, some kind of identifier. So it looked legit, except for the link. And the site that they went to, and the fact that they were logging in with what sounded to be a shared, essentially, root account to their developer account or whatnot to update their plugins.
I wonder if they even bothered SSL. Like, did they even bother buying an SSL cert so that it was SSL, or it probably wasn't disclosed in the article? But like, it makes you
didn't
wonder,
say,
right?
But yeah, you wonder. I mean, because they said in the article, one of the articles I read, I think it was the threat post link, which you see on the show notes. They even looked at it and thought, I didn't know Google used Freshdesk, which, by the way, was a free version. It wasn't licensed. It's a pay. They have a free version and then the paid product. And so this ginormous enterprise didn't even bother to buy it. They were just using a freebie.
There are indicators.
A lot of things that you look at here and think you missed a number of big hints, right? I don't get emails from Google saying, hey, here's a bit.ly link to log into your account.
Yeah.
In fact, they usually tell you, go log into your account, and we're not providing you a link. You go take care of that yourself.
But like with a lot of greatly orchestrated scams, they're taking advantage of a sense of urgency and creating that sense of creating that sense of urgency so that the victim doesn't pay attention to those small details. Because I mean, this particular hack hasn't happened to us, but we've had stuff that like either your domain's going to expire, your copyright violation on YouTube, your YouTube channel is taken down, your Facebook page is taken down. Like all that stuff has happened to us. And it creates a great sense of urgency. You're like, oh crap, something is horribly wrong and I got to go click something to go fix it. And I can see that happening. Thankfully, that's not happened to me personally, but I can see in that sense of urgency, ignoring some of those warning signs, because it kind of puts you in it can, unless you've got training that says not like don't panic, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest, if I received an email like this, I would probably react to it. I've received other emails that have made me go check and make sure everything was okay in my account. Now, you don't click on the link inside of it.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Account and look.
Right, because we do security for a living, so we're highly skeptical of things like this because we've seen them in the past and we work in the field. And so we're like, well, yeah, I'm going to go directly to that site or check it out first before I'm not going to go click a link in email.
Exactly. And then you start looking at it, trying to figure out, well, so what are they doing here? This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then you're getting links down, right?
Exactly.
If you're us, but if you're this poor developer, right? I mean, they made a mistake, they panicked, and they clicked the link.
Yep. And the original article on Sophos's blog made the comment, that it killed the product. Well, it didn't. It certainly caused them a bad week. or weekend rather. This happened on Saturday. By yesterday, they had control of the plugin back. They had contacted Google. Google had removed it from the attackers' control back to the companies. They had updated it to a new legitimate version that wasn't serving up ads.
And please tell me they implemented two-factor authentication to their Google account.
This is where it gets even better. In the company's post about this, they said, "Oh yeah, we've responded to this." One of the things they've done is they've switched to text emails instead of HTML emails because that was obviously a problem because it obscured some stuff. But nothing that they did appeared to address things like turning on two-factor authentication or, hey, I got an idea. Instead of using a root account, add your employees in their Google accounts or company Google accounts, right, into your developer product platform or the Google plugin store, so that people can log in and do most of their maintenance with a regular account, not this shared account that we always tell people never use shared accounts with the common password.
Well, I think it underscores two things that we talk about as recommendations, and that's appropriate user access and roles and the enforcement and logging of that. And if it's important to your company that you develop apps for Google, now I'm just making it up, right? But because I don't understand exactly what the account was or how much control you have over it. But let's just pretend you can have every developer have their own account. You can assign roles so that only certain developers can do certain things, and then you can monitor that access. Now, you might be able to do some of that from Google. Some of these services in the cloud like that do require some third-party tools to be able to do a deeper level of monitoring or enforcement of a particular role. However, that being said, that's an important exercise, as you're saying, Jason. The other thing is two-factor authentication. It works against this attack. I'm not saying it's it's the end-all, be-all, right? But against this particular attack, this is an example of why, especially on your privileged account, that you have two-factor authentication. And I've been going crazy enabling two-factor on everything. And when you're doing it in a centralized manner, such as if you create software and you use a platform, you can make everyone use two-factor authentication or their account, so you can have some control over how people are accessing the things they need to access, especially the privileged things. So,
right. And so I went and looked at this, and you log in with your Google account.
Right.
So you use the Google Authenticator. You get a YubiKey. It's all supported by them, and it's the Authenticator is free. And the YubiKey is what, $15 or something like that?
Yeah, you can get the cheaper one will work with Google. I know because I do that.
I think they were talking about the YubiKey Blue was one that
the blue one. Yeah, the blue one's only like $15. I have one of those enabled on my account. It works just great. That one also works with Facebook as well.
So, here's an interesting story, some lessons to be learned. Fortunately, in this case, this company, it wasn't fatal for them, at least not yet. But just some simple stuff would have avoided this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the two-factor authentication is going to, I hope, pick up in the mainstream as well. We were actually talking about that on the last show, how it's kind of trickling a little more into the mainstream. I'm a big fan of YubiKey. They're not a sponsor of the show. I did talk with them at Black Hat, and I do like their technology. But like you said, Jason, the Google Authenticator app works great. That's great. The concern there is it's still on your phone, and SMS can be intercepted. I mean, there's different, obviously, levels. But it's interesting
the
how
Authenticator doesn't use SMS.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's its own app. Conceivably, if someone has access to your phone, they could gain access to Google Authenticator. Of course, there's a lot of circumstances in there that could prevent that, right? Like your phone is locked or whatever.
It certainly would have taken care of this one anyway. So
that's what. Yeah, I was just gonna say, those things. Even SMS would have taken care of this particular scenario. I mean, that's the shining reason why you use two-factor. So hopefully, they learn and they start listening to the show, because we give that advice out for free all the time. And sometimes it's worth the price that you paid for it. But in this case, it's good advice. So, Jason, thank you very much for appearing on Hack Naked News. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.